This year on Oklahoma Gardening, we tried our hand at growing some ornamental gourds. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, we harvested some of our ornamental gourd mixture. Well, on today's show, we're going to visit with Chris Brock of Brock's Florists here in Stillwater, and we're going to find out from Chris what can we use these gourds for and how we can decorate with them. So, Chris, thank you for joining us here on Oklahoma Gardening.
Sure.
Let's get started with what you have over here.
Okay. What I've started out with first was something you can use indoors or outdoors. Was the windowsill covered with fall leaves. And I've gone ahead and put our ornamental gourds and miniature pumpkins on that, top of that, and then tucked in little pieces of wheat. You can do that outside or inside the house. Makes a nice. Then I'm going to go ahead and do a cornucopia or horn of plenty, which is traditional harvest flower arrangement.
Now, these can be used, Halloween and Thanksgiving too, but
So you can really start it up 1st of October, end of September, and keep it all the way through to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
This is the Larsons brought me in a nice big cornucopia here. And this is how we're going to start it. We're going to go ahead and put a piece of our florist foam in there. And I pushed it all the way up until it really got snug back here in the cornucopia. Then I'm going to go ahead and line the basket with fall leaves, just the outer edge to cover up this edge here. Now to make a cornucopia, you want to use some pieces that are a little bit longer. And I put a little steel pick on the end of this, wood pick, and going to go ahead and insert it in that. Make it so the gourds can come out this way.
Okay.
Now what we've got here is the finished product. I've gone ahead and you can still see all the fall leaves hanging out on the edge here. Then I've gone ahead and put in some silk greenery. This is that little arrowhead philodendron. And gone ahead and place my gourds in, keeping a V shape. I've got it started out heavy here, thick here, and then I've moved out into a V shape. And to really, the trick to this is to use a pointed gourd going out. That makes a fine line. Then I've gone ahead and I'm going to sprinkle some potpourri through it. You could use this in an entryway or on a table. And it just smells good too with the potpourri. This potpourri even has some peach pits in it.
And I noticed you've done a basket here as well.
Yes. This is just a plain basket that I had around the house, and I filled it with gourds. First of all, I lined the basket again like I did the cornucopia with fall leaves. Then I've gone ahead and put in my gourds, trying to get them to go different directions. So it looks like you just actually placed them in the basket.
Did you put the foam inside there?
I put a piece of foam in the bottom, just mainly so I wouldn't have to use so many gourds.
Right.
Then I'm going to come in at the finishing touch and give my baby's breath and make a point like that and go ahead and poke some pieces in there, fluff it up with your fingers. And that kind of finishes it off, makes it kind of pretty.
Well, you've got some more things to show us over here too, don't you, Chris?
Okay, I've gone ahead and made a centerpiece. And I like the hurricane lamps, so I went ahead and used the hurricane lamps. And I've got the ornamental squash, the ornamental gourds, the winter squash, and then I've got some of the rougher type gourds.
And the miniature pumpkins too. Now these were actually some of the things that we grew in our Oklahoma gardening set. So.
And I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. I've gone ahead and made a V shape here. Not a V shape, a diamond shape with my greenery. Gone ahead and made the pointed edges out. And then I've brought these two sides in a little bit closer. And I've gone ahead and just gone all the way around it, laying some greenery down, keeping it kind of a diamond shape if you look down on it this way. Then I'm going to come in with my flower leaves again, my oak leaves.
And these are leaves you said are actually leaves that you've gotten purchased, but what do they do to treat those?
They dip these oak leaves in glycerin, and it gives them they keep for a couple of seasons. They start to get a little beat up after a few years, so you have to replace them. But they're very inexpensive. You can buy a large bunch for about $5.
Okay.
So I've gone ahead and put my leaves all the way around like that to cover up some of the greenery. I still want some of the greenery showing through. Then I'm going to put my piece of driftwood that I like on top here.
And again, this is just a center arrangement.
I've gone ahead and put a little spice to it, put a little piece of baby's breath in it. And I've gone ahead and put this silk ivy in it because I want it to kind of simulate pumpkin vines. So it actually looks like the pumpkins are growing on top here. I need to get it smaller right there. On ahead like that. And then to carry out this, I'm going to go ahead and put some more ivy down here, so it really actually looks like pumpkins growing on that driftwood.
Now you've got, what, a broom or something here that you're going to show us right over here?
Yeah. This is just a broom I did real quick. It's the same desired effect as this. I've laid down my fall leaves first. Then I've wired that onto the broom. Then I've gone ahead and put a few strands of wheat here, leaving the stems exposed down here so it looks like natural wheat. Then I've gone ahead and hot glued pine cones and, again, my ornamental gourds on there. You want to be careful when you do use the gourds and hot glue. You want to be sure and cover up the hot glue spots with baby's breath. That finishes that off.
These ornamental gourds that we brought you, we didn't treat those with anything. They're really not anything that are going to dry out. But you've got some over on this side of the table that are the bird's nest, bottleneck gourds, some that we grew there at the gardens as well. And those will actually dry out. And you've used those with just what?
Mm-hmm. These are from Bob Constantine's farm in Perkins. He grows pumpkins and gourds. And he's made one arrangement in one of the thicker gourds. Mm-hmm. The wall of these gourds is about a half an inch thick, so they dry a little bit more natural.
And those usually you harvest closer to the freeze. They'll dry out the vine and then just scoop the seed out.
Yes, these are last year's gourds.
Okay.
Used before.
Are these ideas that you've given us, Chris? Are they expensive for people?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to buy this greenery that I've used. The florist greenery. You can go out and get greenery out of your yard. Mm-hmm. This is just a piece of driftwood that I like. And then, of course, the gourds you get out of your garden. So each arrangement I've done is probably in the range of about $4 to $5.
Okay, and then if they grow their own gourds?
It's hardly anything.
Right.
You can go out and collect all the materials out of your yard.
Well, Chris, we appreciate these ideas. It's great ideas for us to use, especially for people to see us grow the gourds and then use them. And we want to thank you for the ideas and hope people will stop by their florist and look and see what kind of things they can come up with or design some of the things themselves. So I want to thank you again, and we look forward to having Chris back the next few weeks.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.